Okay, this is Natives of Alaska, Part 2 for the Ecology and Geology of Alaska Natives. I don't know why that keeps coming up. Okay, so the big question is, why do we begin the class talking about environmental regions? Okay, you really need to know this. This is key to the course. So, here's an answer. Because the environment was the main force in shaping Alaska Native material culture. Now, what does that mean? That means that they had to use what was available. So, people in the extreme north ended up having different material culture than people in southeast. They dressed differently, they had different kinds of houses, they ate different kinds of animals because they had different items to work with. So the big thing is that what you're going to see, the environmental regions and the environment really drives material culture and what that. Okay, so as time progressed, over the years in the 1950s, politicians began to realize when they were dealing with the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act that the land was an integral part of Alaska Native culture. So in the 1960s, a volume was published. I don't know if you ever saw it. It's about 15 inches long. It's about, I don't know, 300 or 400 pages, called Alaska Natives and the Land. And this was commissioned by the state of Alaska. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to present to you the conclusions that were reached after spending approximately $500,000 on this study. And in your groups this week, that should be your task, is to tell me what these conclusions mean in plain English. So I'm going to give you the government speak. You tell me what they mean in plain English. I don't expect you to know everything, but do your best. Okay, conclusion number 1. The Aboriginal Alaska Native completely used the biological resources of the land and waters in general balance with their human carrying capacity. What does that mean in plain English? What did we pay $500,000 for them to tell us? That's number 1. Number 2. In their use of the biological community for their livelihood, the native people occupied the land in the sense of being on or over virtually all of it in pursuit of subsistence. But they did not occupy the land in an agrarian sense as understood by American courts. What do you think that means? Number 3. Native settlement patterns have been most greatly changed or affected over the last 100 years by natural, physical, and biological factors. What do you think that means in plain English? And number 4, residing in a land of contrast are native peoples of varied or various ethnic backgrounds that shared one thing in common: their dependence on the land and waters for survival. So again, that one's pretty self-explanatory, but give it your best shot. What did they mean? Okay, the other thing that you're going to have for homework is this. I'm going to give you a link for a place called the Axe Handle Academy. And this was an attempt, probably about 20 years ago, to integrate traditional and Western educational views. So on the same paper where you do your map quiz or on a different one, it'd be good if it's all attached together. This is what I want you to do. Tell me, do you know where your drinking water comes from? Doesn't matter where you live in Alaska. We have people from all over the state in this class. When will the next full moon be? Do you know that? Name 4 edible plants in your bioregion, where you're living. From what direction do winter storms usually come? Again, it depends on where you're living. Where does your garbage go? Do you even know? Name 5 trees in your area. From where you're sitting, point north. Now, obviously, I can't be there to watch, but see if you even know where north is. And you don't have to be specific, but do you know the people who live next door to you? Some people do, and some people don't. And I'm also going to have you do 3 more from that site, but I'll be more specific in the assignments in this module. What people are indigenous to your region? Identify the political government boundaries that comprise your region. So if you live in Anchorage, what are the boundaries of Anchorage? Do you know? If you live in Antioch, where does Antioch begin and end? And you don't have to draw a map, but just kind of explain it. Or if you want to draw a map, you can. Okay, so that concludes this section. Like I said, I'll be more specific about exactly what your assignments are, but the first thing is to go over these 2 PowerPoints.